Hey everyone, welcome back to Random Adventures. Today we're going to be checking out this nice scooter from NAVEE brand. This one is called the NT5 Ultra X. This is an all-wheel drive scooter setup. You get a 1200 watt peak motor in the front, a 1200 watt peak motor in the rear, and these two motors do work together. You cannot switch it from single rear motor to single front motor or anything like that. This is an all-wheel drive setup, so both of these motors are going to be working at the same time. They do say the scooter can get up to 56 miles of range, running at about 10 miles per hour, and can climb hill grades of about 45%. They also do claim that the top speed of the scooter is about 40 miles per hour, and it does have a boost mode feature. We will try that out on the ride. Before we take this thing out, let me tell you about the size and fitment of the scooter. Then we'll take a closer look at it, then we'll take this thing for a ride. Let's talk about the size of the scooter. First of all, the handlebar height is about 49 inches. The scooter does weigh in at 36.5 kilograms, which is about 80 pounds, and it does have a rider weight limit of up to 330 pounds. The scooter does come with the large 10.5-inch pneumatic tires. They are nice and wide. They are sized 80/55-7. You do get mechanical disc brakes on this one as well. They are 140mm rotors in the front and the rear, and this scooter also does have the EABS in the front and in the rear. Of course, the intensity of the regen can be adjusted in the app control. The scooter does have a nice lighting setup as well. It does have an automatic sensing headlight in the front. It also can be turned on manually. You get a flashing taillight in the rear with a brake light. And up here on the handlebars, you do have turn signals on either end. So this scooter does have some nice tech features with it as well. It does have a fully functional app. Some of the things you can do in that app would be adjust the zero start, non-zero start, change the top speed of the scooter, turn the lights on and off. It does have a locking feature where you can walk up to the scooter and unlock it using the app control. And the scooter also does work with the Apple Find My. All right, everyone, to fold the scooter up, you do need to get this little latching mechanism out right here. This is what's going to latch down on the bottom of the scooter. Go up here to the front, pop the lock open. It does have a little bit of a secondary lock, so you need to open it all the way. Then you can fold these handlebars down. Take this little latching mechanism I showed you right here at the top. Put it in here. Then you can easily carry the scooter. Like I said, it does weigh 36.5 kilograms, so that is about 80 pounds. It's real easy to unfold as well. Just unhook it from the deck here. Stand the handlebars up. Lock the main lock. And put your little hook down, just like that. Let me bring you in here, we'll take a closer look at the scooter, then we'll take this thing out for a ride. This is what your front motor looks like with the 10.5-inch pneumatic tires. The scooter does have mechanical disc brakes with 140mm rotors. You get the same setup in the front and in the rear. This is what the tire tread pattern looks like. It is kind of an all-terrain tread pattern, maybe slightly better for the street. Here's what your front fork suspension looks like. It does say NAVEE air ride down the side, but this is not an air suspension, guys. There is no adjustments up here at the top. There is no air chamber pressure adjustments down here at the bottom. I do believe they put NAVEE air ride on here just to say that this ride's nice and smooth. This scooter has a lot of gold accents on it, including the brake calipers. The front fork stanchions are gold as well. The NAVEE on the deck is gold as well. This is what the back of the scooter looks like. It does say NT5 Ultra X on the back. You do get a golden colored swing arm, a golden colored brake caliper, and there is a gold ring going around the wheel. It also does say NAVEE right here on the rear step. Up here in the front, you do have a small but sturdy plastic fender. There is a reflector here on the front. This is your auto sensing headlight as well. It can be used manually or automatic. This is what the front headlight mount looks like. It is pretty cool. The light is nice and bright. The back of this scooter does have a taillight and brake light. This is what the NT5 Ultra X deck looks like. It does have a rubberized padding on it. It does say NAVEE across it right here. I do have size 12 feet. Let me show you how my feet fit on this deck. Fit pretty good. They can fit side to side, no problem. Not quite front to back, but there is a step back here in the back as well, and this is pretty sturdy. The charging port for the scooter is underneath this rubber flap right here. It is a 2.45 amp charger. They do say this can charge up in about 8 hours. This is where the scooter folding mechanism hooks on the back. Let's take a look at the handlebar stem. It is nice and thick and heavy duty. It does say NAVEE going up the side. It does have a coat hook right here to hang something, a bag or something like that. This is the latching mechanism right here. It does lock into place. All right, let's take a look at the handlebars in the display. Fire it up right here. First time you fire it up, it is going to ask you to pair the app. The screen does have some colors. It's mainly blue and white, but it does have some green for the turn signals and stuff like that. I did turn off the zero start, so when you set still, it goes into park mode. When you pull the parking brake, it will get out of park mode. And then a few seconds later, it will go back into park. You do get a large mile per hour reading. It does say two-wheel drive down here on the bottom. This scooter is always in all-wheel drive. This is your battery life indication down here at the bottom. This is your mode over here on this side. It does have walk mode, drive mode, and sport mode. You change the modes using the M button. You do need to double tap them. Walk mode, drive mode, sport mode. This is what the little control panel looks like. It does have a headlight switch up here at the top, and it does dim down the display when you press it. You do have your turn signal switches. Press them again to cancel them. The turn signals are out here on the end of the handlebars. They are nice and visible. This red button is your boost button when you're trying to do high-speed runs. When you press that, it does say boost up here at the top. The hand grips are rounded. They are rubberized. You do get a little click bell up here. Pretty nice. Mechanical brake levers, and they are adjustable right here with the cables. These feel pretty good in the hands. When you pull that brake lever, it does take it out of the parking brake mode. Over on the right side, the scooter does have a thumb throttle, and your front brake is over here on the right side. There is a little small shade up here in the front. I don't think this is big enough to cover up this display. I do think it's more for aesthetics. Let's talk about the overall styling of the scooter. Kind of looks like a little sport bike with all the plastics on it. It does have all the gold accents as well. They do say this is the Kevin Garnett styled scooter. He is the brand ambassador for NAVEE. All right, everybody, let's take this NAVEE NT5 Ultra X out for a ride. Let's take this scooter for a ride. When you first fire this thing up and it is in zero start mode, it's gonna go into this park mode right here, which is not gonna give you any throttle. It's a bit of a safety feature. To disengage that, you simply just pull the brake lever. You get the beep. This thing is ready to go now with the throttle because it is in zero start mode. If you wait a few seconds and you're not moving, it is gonna go right back into that park mode as you see there. All right, let's take this thing for a ride. We'll try it out first here in walk mode. Double tap it to change the modes. You get walk mode, drive mode, sport mode. Let's see what walk mode will do. See, we're already back in park. You do have the boost mode button here as well. We'll try that out later. Pull the brake lever, you're out of park. The handlebars are a little bit lower on the scooter. They are about 49 inches, and I am kind of a tall rider, so the camera angle, sometimes it might be a little tough to see the cockpit here. I do have my sunglasses on, and I can see the display even out here in the sun. It does dim down when the headlight is on. Now I can't hardly see it. Turn the headlight off, it gets a little bit brighter. The cruise control is on, so after about 5 seconds of holding that throttle, that cruise control will kick on. You can turn that off in the app control. We will take a closer look at the app in a little bit. I do have the GPS speed app open as well. It is giving us 4 miles per hour on the GPS. So yeah, walk mode is really slow here. You can just set the cruise control and you can just cruise along and talk to somebody beside you or something like that. Pretty useful. All right, let's put this thing in drive mode now. Double tap the M button. Get it down in drive. It did not cancel the cruise or the speed or anything like that when I changed modes. That's actually pretty cool. Usually that will cancel the speed. All right, let's hit the throttle on this drive mode now. Gonna get a really big acceleration increase. And it looks like the drive mode tops out at around 13 miles an hour here. GPS is showing 13, onboard is showing 13, so it's very accurate. Before we check sport mode and the turbo boost mode, we're gonna do the hill climb right here. Let me go back to my starting point. Even on this drive mode, guys, it has a pretty good acceleration, so make sure you're hanging onto the handlebars when you hit that throttle. The throttle is pretty sensitive and pretty touchy on this one, so when you push that thing down, you're really gonna move. All right, I stopped right here. This is where we're gonna do our hill climb. It did go back into park mode, so we got no throttle right now. Let's bump this thing up to sport mode. Double tap this M. You get the S over here. Don't forget the NT5 Ultra X is an all-wheel drive scooter, so it's always gonna be in two-wheel drive mode, so be ready for that power when it comes on. Let's release the parking brake here and go for this hill climb. Traction control is on. Still get a real strong acceleration. We'll try this in sport mode, then we'll try that boost button as well. All right, guys, so sport mode is a whole nother animal. This thing absolutely blazed up the hill there. I think we were still hitting 29 or 30 miles an hour at the top of the hill. I was able to make the turn without braking. So this thing turns into an absolute beast once you get that into sport mode. So make sure you're hanging on. It is nice that this does have traction control. It's gonna limit that front wheel spin, and that's a real nice safety feature. This is a very smooth riding scooter. The suspension is nice and soft. Feels very comfortable to be on so far. Other than the throttle is quite touchy, guys, so be ready for that power. All right, so we got this red boost button over here. Let me press that. It does say boost up there at the top. Let's try this run again with this boost mode. Let's see what it does. Release the parking brake, let's go. Just a little bit of wheel spin with the traction control on. All right, boost mode did not give us any more up the hill. We still got 29, 30 miles an hour, but it's still very impressive. Let me put this in comparison for you. A lot of the 2,000 watt e-bikes I try up that hill run about 17 or 18 miles an hour. So that's a big difference, 17, 18 miles an hour on a 2,000 watt e-bike, and this 2,400 watt scooter is giving us 29, 30 miles an hour up the hill. It's actually very impressive, guys. All right, guys, I'm gonna do my best to hold this GPS for the acceleration run so we can try to match up here. See what I can do. All right, let's go. 20, 25, 30, 35 on board. All right, we just crested the hill. Let's see what the top speed is. Showing 40 on board, 36 on the GPS. 37 on the GPS. 38 on the GPS. So it was running 40 on the onboard. GPS was lagging a little bit. It did catch up to 38 miles per hour on the GPS. So it's definitely a very fast scooter, guys. I'm gonna go back, put the GPS in my pocket. We'll try that same run again with the boost mode on and see if it makes any difference. GPS is open in my pocket. We'll see if we get any faster than 38 miles per hour. Let's go. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Let's crest the top of this hill here. All right, we're up on the flat. Boost mode is on. I'm gonna get a little bit low. All right, I was seeing 41 on the onboard there. That's where it topped out with me at 215 pounds. And our top speed still registered 38 miles per hour on the GPS. So we're not quite getting 40 miles per hour. It's showing us 41 on board, but the GPS is showing us 38, but it's definitely still a very fast scooter, guys. All right, let's take a look at the NAVEE app control. They do have a very nice app here, very stylish. You can slide to lock and unlock the scooter here. Here's your cruise control settings. You can turn that off and on. You do have to confirm it. You got energy recovery here. You can set that on low, medium, or high. You do have to confirm that as well. I'm gonna leave that on medium. Got the light control here. You turn on your, turn the sound off here. Signal sounds. Tail light on. The auto sensing headlight, you can turn that on. Let's do that. That way when it gets dark, it will come on automatically. Let's go back. You got unit settings. You can do imperial and metric. Let's go back. More features. All right, you got maximum speed settings here. It is set to max, but if somebody's riding the scooter and you want them to go a little bit slower, you can set it to a lower speed here. That's nice. The startup speeds, I got it on 0 miles per hour. Okay, so if you put it in the default settings of 1.8 miles per hour, it's not gonna give you that parking brake every time you come to a stop. So I might run it like that for a little bit, see how it feels. All right, got custom charge time. You can schedule the charging. Got low battery mode. This will limit your speed when you get into low battery area, 20% I believe it is. Once enabled, when the battery drops below 20%, the maximum speed will be limited to extend battery life. So you can turn that on if you want. Device sharing, Bluetooth lock. All right, you got traction control anti-slip. I am gonna turn that off. I wanna see what kind of burnouts this thing will do when the traction control is off. I am gonna have to turn this startup speed back to 0 as well. We'll see what this thing does fully unlocked. All right, traction control's off. We're in sport mode. We're also in boost mode. Let's see if it peels out. Actually, not that big of a burnout. All right, let's try that one more time. All right, you get just a little bit of front wheel spin, but it still has pretty good grip on this road. I got a feeling though, if you were off-road or in the gravel or something like that, that front wheel is really gonna spin out with the traction control off. So I do think you get just a little bit harder acceleration in boost mode. It didn't really change our top speed any, but the acceleration is a little bit better. All right, this is not gonna be super easy. I'm gonna try to hit start on this timer and do an acceleration run up to 20. Ready, let's go. Took about 5 seconds to hit 20. Oh, that's a pretty good acceleration, guys. And that was in boost mode. Let's go back and try it without the boost mode, see what the difference is. I know that's not scientific. I don't have the Draggy app. If there's a significant enough difference, we will be able to tell though. All right, release the parking brake, start the app. Let's go. 10, 15, 20. All right, that gave us a 541, slightly slower. I believe it gave us a 509 in boost mode. All right, I think I got the hang of that. Let me try it one more time in boost mode, see if I can get it any faster than 541. All right, boost mode on, reset the app, release the parking brake, start, and let's go. 10, 15, 20. All right, guys, so boost mode does give you a significant faster run time. It gave us 4.82 versus 5.41 without the boost mode. So even though I couldn't really feel a super big difference, boost mode is definitely faster. So that is the difference between boost mode on and boost mode off. Boost mode actually gave us about 3/4 of a second faster run to 20 miles per hour. All right, the scooter feels pretty soft on the road. I feel like it's tuned pretty well for street riding, but this does have full suspension. So let's go take this thing off-road. You got full suspension, you got lots of power, all-wheel drive, so let's see how it handles the trail. All right, it's definitely gonna have plenty of power for off-roading, that's for sure. Take it over to the trail here and we'll run it out to the lake. Here we go. Got 10.5-inch pneumatic tires, full suspension. I can already feel the tree roots though. This is not a real long travel suspension on this one. So when you hit the big bumps, it is gonna bottom out just a little bit. All right, guys, so the suspension is not like super plush off-road here or anything like that. It's definitely better than riding on a hardtail scooter with no suspension at all. Power-wise, you're gonna have tons of power to do off-roading. I do think you're gonna have to take it somewhat easy over the big bumps. Here's some whoop-de-doos. All right, we got through them. It wasn't super smooth. But it's got just enough suspension to take the sting out of the big bumps. All right, let's blast across the dam here. This is in sport mode. Boost is off. So you can definitely get this thing moving, guys. This thing has lots of power, lots of zip. 2,400 watts of peak power. This scooter is definitely going to be able to take you way out off-road. I don't find it to be the most comfortable or plush suspension though. All right, this is uphill, tall grass. Traction control's on. I can feel it limiting us a little bit. The front wheel started to spin a little bit and I felt that traction control take over. That was probably helpful. Yeah, if you need the scooter to get you out to a location with your fishing pole or something like that, like a lake like this scooter can definitely take you out there. The tires are big enough, 10.5-inch tires. It's got more than enough power to do it. It can take you down the trail. It's not the most comfortable ride off-road so far. It kind of feels like a, how to describe it? Kind of like a desert runner though. Like when you're going a little bit faster, it feels a little bit more floaty. It kind of drifts over the bumps when you're coming at them with speed. It doesn't feel quite as good at low speed. I kind of wish there was a button to turn traction control on and off up here, but you do have to do it in the app control. All right, traction control is off. Parking brake is off. Boost mode is on. Let's do it. Yeah. So you turn that traction control off and you can get that that front wheel spin if you want it. It's still not wild spinning. It's still not wild wheel spin. I feel like the computer still controls it a little bit, even with the traction control off. So, feels like it's a pretty safe scooter as far as the wheel spin goes. It's not like overwhelming wheel spin, even with the traction control off. So this is definitely gonna be a nice scooter for out here on the road commuting. Let me get some speed here. We're gonna hit these big speed bumps. All right, that felt okay. That's pretty much how I feel about it. I feel the suspension is tuned pretty well for the road and for sidewalk riding and stuff like that. It feels nice and smooth out here on the road. So it's showing at 9.7 miles per hour, the 56 miles of range possible. Range claims at 12.5 miles per hour, 47 miles of range possible, and at 15.5 miles an hour, 41 miles of range possible. So as you can see, if you want to get some long range out of the scooter, use this thing for a long distance commuter, you are going to want to keep it at those lower speed modes. 40 miles of range at 15 miles an hour is pretty good though. All right guys, we're here in town. This is the area where the sidewalk is pretty much the worst. Let me try the scooter over this broken sidewalk here. We'll see how it feels over the bumps. Here's some pretty big bumps right here. Not bad. Feels pretty good, guys. No harsh impacts, even there on that real big bump. So the suspension on this scooter is definitely tuned well for sidewalks. Here's a really big bump. Nothing. Kind of hitting the bumps on purpose here. Here's the big one. And here's a bit of a cobblestone sidewalk, an old brick sidewalk here. So overall, the scooter feels great on the sidewalk. So if you're a person that commutes in town and you need to do a lot of sidewalk riding, this feels pretty good on the sidewalk. Here's a huge bump. Not bad at all. All right, guys, we're here at the tallest hill in town. Let's try the scooter up the hill here. I'm not even gonna go full speed. I can tell already this scooter has tons of power to make this hill. Pulling us on up. No problem, guys. Brought us up here to the top of the hill. Let me try a little bit of high speed here. We'll check the stability of this thing. It actually feels quite stable even at speed. So even in the upper 30s, pushing 40 miles an hour, the scooter is stable on the road. I don't think you're gonna need a steering dampener or anything like that on the scooter. It feels nice and stable even at high speed. Stop here for a second, say hi to the horses. Looks like it's lunchtime. They're doing a little bit of snacking. Pretty hot out here now. They do have a little pond down there at the bottom though. I'm out here on the gravel road, guys. The scooter is very smooth on the pavement and does just fine around town. I don't find it to be super smooth out here on the gravel. It can take you down a gravel road, no problem. It's got plenty of power to do it, but you might lose a filling. So I pulled over here for a second. I was trying to find the odometer and trip readings and stuff like that on this display, and it's just not displayed here. If you hit the mode twice, you get the walk, drive, sport. You hit the headlight button, it dims it down, and that's pretty much all the control you have here. So you're not seeing odometer, trip, or display, or timer like that, or anything on this display. You are going to have to look at that information in the app control. You do have your battery life indication here though. I'm going to do a brake pull here from this speed sign from about 20 miles an hour. All right, guys, the disc brakes on the scooter actually stopped us really well. We did leave a little patch of rubber here, and I was able to stop from that sign going about 20 miles an hour. It took about 20 feet here. Even though these are mechanical disc brakes, they did lock up the tires and they stopped the scooter really well. All right, let me talk about the energy recovery a little bit, essentially the regen. I did go into the app and set it to max. So I will show you how that works. You don't have to pull the brakes or anything on this one when it's set to max. When you let off the throttle, it's just gonna bring you to a stop. That is the energy recovery working, the motors are working. And it will bring you all the way to a stop. And it is a cool system on this one. Most scooters, you have to pull the brakes to get that regen going. This one just does it when you let off the throttle. I kind of like that feature a lot because if you're cruising at some pretty high speeds, you don't really need to take your hands off the handlebars. You just let off that throttle and it starts braking you right away. It allows you to use the braking a lot less. Overall, the scooter is very comfortable out here on the road. It feels nice. I feel like I'm in a nice upright standing position. At 6 foot tall, the handlebar height feels great for me. I think it would be pretty good a little bit lower, and if you're just a little bit taller. If you're really, really tall, like 6'7" or something like that, the handlebars might feel a little bit low to you. But probably up to like 6'3" or 6'4", this is gonna feel just fine to you. Like I said, this thing is super smooth out here on the road. Kind of feels nice and buttery, actually. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ride this thing out, put some more miles on it, then I will be back to give you my final thoughts on the NAVEE NT5 Ultra X. All right, everybody, I've rolled back into my area on the NAVEE NT5 Ultra X. Let me show you what we did for range on this ride. Since you cannot see the odometer or trip on the display here, you do have to check it in the app control. Go into your driving record here. We did put 19.9 miles on the scooter on this ride, and it is showing that we still have 13 miles of range left. So if you rode the scooter a lot slower, between 10 and 15 miles per hour, like they show on their website, you are going to get a great range out of this 19.2 amp hour battery. That is a pretty large battery for a scooter. This is going to be a great scooter for commuting, for getting back and forth to school, back and forth to work. As far as the overall performance of the scooter, it has 2,400 watts of peak power. It did really good up the hill climb. It gave us 29, 30 miles per hour up the hill. That was very impressive. It did give us a top speed nearing 40 miles per hour. It did register 38 miles per hour on the GPS. So this is definitely a fast scooter. The overall feel of the suspension is nice and soft out on the road. This thing rides really nice on the road. I find the suspension to be tuned perfectly for the road. When I did ride it down the broken sidewalk, it felt pretty good as well. And I did take it over some brick sidewalks. It felt pretty good as well. Once I got out to the gravel though, it felt like it was a little bit lacking in the suspension department. It had a little bit of resonance in the suspension on the gravel roads. I did actually find that when you took the scooter down the trail and you were actually going a little bit higher speed, it actually felt a little bit better at higher speed. It was kind of more floaty at higher speed. Would I recommend this scooter to somebody that lives in the city and plans to ride this as a commuter on the road and on the sidewalks and stuff like that? I absolutely would. This is a nice premium scooter. It rides great out on the road. It's very fast and it does have the right suspension tuned for the road. Would I recommend this scooter if you're looking for something to ride the trails all the time and gravel roads all the time? I probably would not. Either way, guys, I do find this to be a fast, good-looking, sporty, well-put-together premium scooter, and this thing is definitely going to stand out in a world of basic scooters. All right, everyone, if the NAVEE NT5 Ultra X is the scooter for you, I will put the link for this scooter in the description below the video. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel for more e-bike and scooter content like this. I really do appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you in the next one.